Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Du'as of afia and barakah for everybody, inshallah ta'ala. Today's webinar or study subject is going to be from this book, The Self-Driven Child, inshallah ta'ala. I love this book. I went through it not once actually, but many times, although it's a library book and it's overdue actually. I have to return it. But the thing is, this book is written by a clinical psychologist, and the combination was really nice because there's a clinical psychologist who works with children who are anxious, and then there is a person who runs an academy, basically a tuition center. And so both of them came together. Both of these guys came together to write this book. And the best part about this book is it's just not from the psychology perspective, but it's also from the behavior and manners perspective from an average dad who is running a tuition center. And so we all know, especially when our children go to 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grades, how much tuition and how much working on and how much extra help is needed with the children, especially in specific subjects. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, without further ado, I will summarize and crystallize the points from this book, inshallah ta'ala. Today, I want to actually answer your questions as well. So, inshallah, if you have any questions, please start writing them in the chat box. And once I'm done with the summary, I would love to answer them. This is the last Thursday thought of the year end. And so I want it to be like amazing. I want to hear from you. I want to hear maybe a feedback of the year review of what you've learned through our Thursday thoughts, what has stuck with you, what you have implemented, what you have liked so far. What is it that you want to listen to or hear about more? What discussions you want, because you have the WhatsApp group, you have the inner crowd, you have the support group, and you have the emails, you have the Facebook to you. So inshallah ta'ala, we have given you tools, and we at Parenting with Allah by My Side, the team is always ready to help, to be of service. So Bismillah, let's start with what does the book basically and actually really talk about. So the first acronym that I want to give, if you're taking notes, is NUTS, which is in this book, NUTS. And what does NUTS basically mean? And things and people that make you go nuts, like something that is out of your control, something that you really are dreading to deal with. And as parents and parents of younger children, or of parents of adolescents or teens who we have a rift with often and on, we go nuts, right? We go nuts. So the acronym is the situation and the things that make you go nuts. Is N is for new. That is something that you are testing waters in. U is unpredictable. You don't know how it will turn out, right? T is threatening the ego. If he, like, I will give a very good example. T is threatening the ego, and 4 is sense of control gone. And of course, any parent hates that. If it's threatening our ego, specifically the T and specifically the S, when we don't have any sense of control, or we think that we're losing this parenting in chargeship, right? And so one of the good funny examples that I can give is last night. I told my daughter that Jazakallah khair, Sister Sara. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last night, at about 9 p.m., I said, okay, fine, to my daughters. One is 14, one is 12. And I said, okay, give your iPads. I'm going to keep it in my room. And we talked like for an hour and a half, and I think we're engaging in conversation, and there are so many things that they have to say about the whole entire world, and I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm listening. And then suddenly my 14-year-old goes, okay, now give me my iPad back. I'm like, what? It's time to sleep. It's 11 something. Let's just sleep. She's like, no, give me my iPad. I was like, why? I gave you quality time. Why do you need the iPad? Right? And she's like, okay, take it away from Pi too. My eldest, right? The son, he was playing online with his friends, and it was just, take it away from him. I said, I know he will shut it down. I know that once the game is over, he will. No, you give him the same rule like you gave me. I'm like, listen. And here is the threat to ego, where it was a threat to ego. Basically, I said, I'm not going to tell him anything. I know that he will shut it down when he will finally feel tired. I'm not going to go, and I'm not going to take away his iPad. I'm not going to say anything. She said, why? I said, because I'm scared of him. She said, what? He's your son. He came out of you. Why are you scared of him? And I said, no, I am scared. I'm scared that he will say something and it will make me mad, and then we will become rude to each other. I don't want to do it. I trust him that he will end it whenever it ends, and he will keep it away and he will go to sleep. You, on the other hand, I have given you my time. We have spent time with each other. We have talked so much about things, and I'm requesting. And she said, why? And I said, it's not good for your eyes. It's not good for your sleep. It's not good for this. It's not good for that. Blah, 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 blah. It renders with the Fajr Salah. Like, it affects our Fajr Salah. And she keeps quiet and she says, I don't like you in this moment. I'm like, it's okay. You don't like me in this moment. It's completely okay. That's completely fine. I don't want to be liked all the time. Alhamdulillah. That would tell me I'm not doing my job too well. Because my job is not to be liked by you. It's to be loved by you and to be understood by you whenever you are ready to understand me. So this is one of the examples where this book comes in, where they say that the sense of control is one of the biggest factors that have caused people to have anxiety and depression. And there's a stat that says that in the early 60s, so they compared college students from the early 60s and they compared college students in the late 2000s, and they found that people have become more stressed, college students specifically, and of that age group of people have become more stressed because they have lost their sense of control. Now, there are three kinds of stresses. First kind of stress is a positive stress. Like, for example, you like a game, you like a sport, you want to win. It's a positive kind of a stress. But performance jitters, they're going to go on stage, they're going to perform. There's a performance stress, right? You know you can do it. You have rehearsals, if you've practiced it, you love this thing, you're invested in it, you've spent months trying to prepare for it. But there is stress, but that's a good stress, right? The second is a tolerable stress. Like, for example, this teacher has an attitude. You don't like this teacher, but you're good at the subject, you're fine, you fare well, you just go under the radar, you try not to ruffle feather the wrong kind of feathers. There's a bully in the class, you try your best to avoid, and the bully doesn't like bother the child. But there is stress. There is this tolerable stress. For example, oh my god, I hope today the teacher doesn't burst out, doesn't have a mood. That's a tolerable kind of stress. But then there is toxic stress, and this toxic stress is extremely bad for the child's health development. I was going through the book, and it was said that the people in the 1960s, where the children used to play outdoor more, or in the 70s, or even in the early 80s, where they used to play more outside and they had more autonomy of time, of doing things, of choosing things. It's not that the parents weren't parenting then. The parents were parenting then too. The good parents were leaders then too. There was authoritarian parenting. A lot of authoritarian parenting happened. We believe in authoritative parenting, where the boundaries are set, where the parents can give the children the choice, right? But still, this idea, like, for example, and I will tell this from experience as well, the age groups, let's start from 12 to 17, 18. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to do on the weekend? I don't know. Can we do this? I don't know. Maybe. What is it that you want to do in life? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Where is this I don't know coming from? And I stopped myself and I asked myself this question. Did we do something that made our children say, I don't know? Or are they basically battameez, that is, they are ill mannered? Or do they have a lack of sense of direction? Or are they overstimulated with too many choices? Or have they made a predefined notion about their parents that it's useless to say anything to them, because regardless, whatever we say, they're not going to agree to it? Have they given up? Do they have the stress that, oh, there's going to be an argument, the parent is going to burst out, and I don't want to do that to the parent? And all of these uh, apply to all of us in some situations or the other, right? And then I asked myself, are we not giving enough autonomy to our children? And then I remembered my recent clients, and oh my goodness, there is no autonomy given to the child for anything. And I was like, yeah, we really don't. And what does that look like? Okay, so for example, and then I went through this example of real life example. So we're still on the book. I'm not going away from the book, I'm just giving real life examples, because all of you, we talk to you, you talk to us every single day in our chats, in our emails, right? And so one of the most common examples is, my child does not do this. I don't know how to make my child do this. I know this is good for my child, but my child is not coming to this conclusion by themselves. Or my child has outwardly said to me, no, there is no way. So I've dealt with a parent whose child, who took their child 1.5 hour away to their boarding school, 1.5 hour away to the boarding school, and the child refused to get out of the car. And the principal of the school came out, and the child said, I'm not getting out of the car. You cannot lay a finger at me. I'm not getting out of the car. The parents took that child back home, drove 1.5 hour. Now, and the child was just 13-year-old, right? He's a boy. At that time, he was 13 years old. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God. And I asked the mother, when he kept refusing to get out of the car, what was the father doing? What was the principal doing? What were you doing? She said, I kept begging him to get out. The father started getting angry and cussing the child and telling how embarrassed he is because of the child. And the principal just kept pleading, oh, please come out. You will have a fun time. You will have a good time. All your friends are here. He said, no, I had told my parents, I'm not going to go to school this week. I'm not going to go to school this week. It's not that the environment at the home was fantastic, but and I thought in my head, what could have they done? They shouldn't have brought the child, because the child was pretty clear. The child said, not this week, not this week. And to stress yourself and to stress the whole time while going to the school, while the child all, somehow they made him sit in the car from home, but for some reason they couldn't pull him out of the car at school entrance. Something happened, something just happened there, right? So did he go in the next week? Yes, he did, and readily and happily he went the next week. But that particular week, he went to the school and he came back from the school, he did not go to school. Oh, wow. Similarly, there's a parent who says, I want my child to, the father is stressing that the child does great in mathematics, and he got an expensive tutor for that kid, but the kid hated the subject, plus the idea that they have to spend extra time on that subject. Now, in this book, they say, because one of the authors is a tutor, right? He runs a tuition center, and he said this, I've seen parents push their children to get tuition, to get better grades, which is extremely important. There's nothing wrong with it. But the idea of the self-driven child is, let the child come to that conclusion, which means the child has to fail. Now, failing is a no-no for us. For example, I remember, and we say this to our kids, and our parents were told the same thing, that 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th are the only years where you're going to give your best, and then you're going to do your best, and then you're going to go to college, and life is going to become fantastic because you will love the college that you want to go to. You can have the autonomy to choose the college because you will get scholarships. None of that happens for majority of us. 90% of us, it does not happen. And if I am wrong, tell me in the chat box. No, Iram, you are wrong. All of our kids and all of us did the same thing. We studied really hard in these 4 years, and then we went to we got all the scholarships that we wanted, and we went to all the universities. Out of the people who are watching, maybe two will say, yes, this did really happen. And the rest of us, what happened to us? I did not even bother for scholarship, honestly. So I was a very careless student, and my mom knew from very early on, isne koi teen nahi marna. She's just, she's fine. She's happy where she is. I'm not going to push her for anything. I think I had a very chill mom. I had a very chill parent, and that was good for me. It helped me grow. It helped me make my decisions. It helped me fail. It helped me pass. It helped me excel, actually. And so I think how I was parented has a lot to do of how I parent too, because my husband comes from a very military background, and I came from a very authoritative background. And so if I see how I'm raising my children, somehow Amir gave me this, like, okay, fine, you know what? I think your method will work. Go ahead. So I've been homeschooling for now, alhamdulillah, 8 years. It's not that I teach them every single day. I sit with them with the books, and it's not that it's been easy. I've hired teachers and I've hired tutors, and it's been really expensive at some point. But for example, with my middle daughter, she has it was very difficult for her to understand math. So she was, last year, after 2 years of break, After 2 years of break of never even touching math, I brought her to fifth grade math through a tutor online. And did she excel? Yes, she did. For the first time in her life, she gave an exam and she got a C plus. And oh my God, that C plus was greater than an A plus for us. Why? Because when she was ready to do it, she did it. What happened? Fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. She's in eighth grade and she's doing a fifth grade math. What took away from her? Nothing. Nothing really. Did she lose anything? Did she lose time? Did she lose? No, she gained the stability to understand problem solving. In her mental capacity, she was not up to par with her age fellows, and that was completely okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made her that way. She's not in a rat race. And the good thing, and I will say this, my bias is I homeschool. So my child is not going to school. The teachers are not calling me. They are not having parent teachers meeting with me. They are not stressing me out. They're not telling me, oh, your child is not doing good. Oh, your child failed today too, blah, 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 blah. And so I did not have all those stresses, and inwardly I did not give those stresses to my kid. Will this work for everybody? Yes. Yes, it will work for everybody if you really believe in giving the autonomy to it, right? The autonomy to let the child come to their ability to perform. Okay, coming back to the book. The kids' future immunity. What is the immunity for kids? They need a supportive adult. They need time to recover from stressful situation or a person or an event, and they need sense of control, right? One of the famous sayings by Edgar Tolle is, kids come through you, but they are not yours. The three main reasons why fighting about homework doesn't make sense. Okay, so in this book, because I told you again and again that one of the authors is a tutor himself. So when he sees that the parents are stressing upon homework and stressing so much, because if I remember correctly, even in our days, homework had a certain percentage to the final result, right? So 20% of your marks from your homework or 30% of your marks from your homework were given at the end of the semester to your exam. That would, as it was added to your exam, to your project, and then your grade would go up or your grade would come down, right? So when one of the stresses of it, the homework, the author says, is you may be forcing beliefs and attitudes you don't believe in. So I had this friend who was a homeschooler, but she started to work, and so she had to send her children to school actually. And one of her children, she is that kid is a high spirited child, and I actually tutored that child in our co-ops, right? And so I knew that this kid is different from the rest of the kids, and I had a separate plan for teaching her, and she loved me, and we laughed and we played, and it was easy, and the mom was chill as well with it. The mom was like, it's okay, it's really okay, it's not like, she has to finish all of that. But when she went to school, of course the teacher was frustrated. She didn't do homework, she was moving around in the class, she was not sitting, she was not like the ordinary girls, obedient, right? So I asked my friend one day. The friend was like, what are you doing? And she said, I'm doing my daughter's homework. I said, why are you doing her homework? Let her do it, because she doesn't want to do it, and I can't force her to do it. And you know her pretty well. If I make her force her to do it, either she's going to scribble all over it, or she's going to tear it, or she's going to flush it down the toilet, and then the teacher will be like, what happened? And I'm done with giving excuses. I can't. So she used to do, and this is younger years, this is like kindergarten, not ninth grade, okay? So because she kept telling the teacher homework is not that important. Is her class participation good? Yes. Does she understand the concepts that you're teaching? Yes. Now this is a kindergartner. Does she repeat after you? Does she engage with other students? Yes, yes, and yes. Homework was the most hated part for that kid. And so the mother used to do the homework until kindergarten. And then first grade come, the child became more mature. Second grade come, the child became more mature. Third grade now, alhamdulillah, the kid understands. There are rules, there is discipline, there are some things that I like, some things I don't like. The mom helps, of course, but she's not doing the homework for the kid anymore. Okay, coming back to the code of conduct. Okay. Oh, so no. Number one was, you may be forcing beliefs and attitudes you don't believe in when you're making them do homework. So when parents work harder to solve the kids' problem, kids become weaker, not stronger. That's really true. It reinforces belief that someone other than the child is responsible to find solutions to their problems. And I honestly believe, if I remember myself, I was that kind of a kid. Like, for example, if I got stuck at a problem and I would like, teacher, can you please help me? And the teacher knew, by the end of the year, teacher knew, if I go to help Iram will say, just do the whole exercise for me. I'm not going to I'm not going to do it. So the teacher would say, it's okay if you take your time, but please do it by yourself. I remember my teacher saying that to me, and I would just feel so anxious because everybody around me is getting these answers and they're telling their answers. And I'm like on the first step, and I'm like, how? But how did you get it? How did you get it? Did I pass math? Yes, with passing marks. Did I ever study math? No, I did not. It's not my forte. But khalas, I managed. Somehow I managed. I passed. It's okay. And you can't force a kid to something they are dead set against. This part is exactly what my friend did. She was like, my daughter is dead set to not do her homework. I've tried to explain to her teacher, the teacher is dead set to not understand, and it wasn't the teacher's fault. If everybody knows the schooling system, the teacher has a quota, the teacher has a responsibility, the teacher has a supervisor who's breathing down the teacher's neck, like, why isn't this happening in your class? Why is the grade like this? Why is this like this? The teacher cannot make false reports about the child saying, oh, she did homework, right? So, and the teacher has so many kids in the classroom, so it's not exactly the teacher's fault. It's how our education system is built everywhere around the world, right? So you can't force the kid to do something they're dead set against. Remember this, that there's only so much control and there's only so much sense that you can pour into someone. If somebody is a shut door, you can knock on the door, you can maybe even bang on the door, but if you want to push the door open, there are going to be cracks in the relationship. Long time repairing would be needed. So what is the code of conduct to have a self-driven child? What are the codes of conduct? You can't make your child do something against their will. Now, this sounds as if this is a very Western approach, but honestly, this is not a very Western approach. Why? Because if we are training our children according to the Sunnah from 0 to 7, there is, and then the tarbiyah process kicks in from 7 to 12, 13, then honestly, we're not forcing them to do things. I have seen this again and again in my learning and teaching as a parent, that my ego kicks in very quickly. Like, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? And so if we tame that animal, that angry animal of how dare you, and why don't you, and how come you don't, or what is wrong with you, these 4 sentences, if we are able to tame these egoistic beasts, then the part that I'm saying, that you can't make your child do something against their will, becomes easier, because we create this empathy and compassion space where we are like, the prefrontal cortex, their amygdala, it's not working for them right now. They are feeling threatened. I'll give you a very simple example. Yesterday, again, life examples are really important. So, and I know this is relatable, that's why I'm saying this. My son, 16-year-old, he was supposed to go play with his friends. So 1 hour remaining, I'm seeing him, he's online playing. I said, are you ready? He said, yes, I'm ready. His dad was supposed to take him. Yes, I'm ready. I said, but you did not even like get up from your bed. He said, no, I did. You did not see me. I got up. Okay. I kept quiet. After some time, I got busy. Then I remembered he has to go. I was like, are you ready? And he was like, yeah, I just told you I was ready. Okay. I keep quiet. 3rd time, he's walking. He is ready. I can see it with my own eyes. And I give him this look, right? He flips, and he's like, I told you I was ready. Can't you see I am ready? I am all ready. Why are you just like after me? What is it with you? And I was shocked. I was like, I am complimenting you. Can't you see? And then in a very, very calm tone, I said, I asked you twice. I was not after you. Okay, fine, you're ready. I can see that. And I kept quiet and I moved away. Then the beast inside me was raging. It wanted to kill this child, okay? But I said, Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Iram, your ego. Listen, his amygdala was sensing a set of threat because you had asked him twice. He had responded to you twice. In his head, he's thinking, my mom is not listening to me. So he flipped, right? And it's an adolescent brain. And ego for him is higher. So calm down. I calmed myself down. Then I saw him come close to his sister, and he had annoyed his sister as well, right? So he came close to his sister and he was trying to mend his affairs with her, and I gave him that look. He came smiling towards me and he said, Amma, you had asked me twice now. And I said, listen, I gave you this look, which meant you look nice and you're going to play cricket with your dad for the first time. So I'm excited for your father son duo playing cricket. I had nothing in my mind regarding how, if you're ready or you're not ready. And then he looked at me and he smiled and said, oh, I'm sorry. I just thought maybe you were going to say something about me getting ready. I said, no, you made yourself clear and I could see that you were ready. You just assumed that I'm going to. He said this, you were judging me. When you looked at me like this, you were judging me. I said, I was not judging. I swear, if I can kill some words in the dictionary, one of the word is judging. Acha khair. So I said, no, I'm not judging you. I was actually complimenting you. And then he smiles and I said, our daughter's favorite dialogue. Do you know what's in my heart? Or I know what's in my heart. And then he smiled more. I said, okay, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I flipped on you. Khalas, done, healed, right? So now that is an example of taming the ego. Anything up until now? Anything up until now so that I can, inshallah, go forward? No? Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. 3 presets you should adopt when you're talking to your children. Number 1, you're an expert on you. Have confidence in yourself. I've seen this over and over again that we parents lose our confidence. We think that we're doing something wrong, and not to our own fault. We hear so much. We are bombarded with so much information. We try to take in so much. We try to implement less than what we have learned, and we try to implement it half-heartedly or just in the testing waters. And if it fails once, then we just get like even more confused, like, oh my god, it did not work, it did not work, what are we going to do? Yalla, anything to work needs some time. Okay, anything to work needs some time. And yes, you are your child's parents and you are the best expert on your child and yourself. Some people know themselves, and one of the things that I have figured out as a life coach working with women is a majority of us don't even know ourselves. We don't know what we want. We don't know how we need to get to the point where we will be satisfied. There is this huge dissatisfaction with self. And again, I link it to maybe we were not given enough autonomy. And even in our marriages, the autonomy part is so important, and it keeps us anxious all the time. If you don't have an autonomy as an adult to make your decisions, live the faults and live the failures and the successes of your decisions, if there is a shaming culture, then as a parent, as a mother, it becomes extremely difficult to become confident in self, or to say, yeah, I'm an expert in me. I have heard mothers, and I myself included, we have shamed ourselves, we have demeaned ourselves, we have told that we're stupid, we have told that we're good for nothing, we have told that maybe this job was not made for us, maybe we tell ourselves. I'm not even talking about somebody else telling us that. I'm just saying we tell this to ourselves. But where is this coming from? Somebody else's comment triggered it, somebody else's conversation triggered it, somebody else's action triggered it, our children rejecting us triggered it, rejecting what we want them to do triggered it. So you need to understand there are 2 parts of this. You be sure of what you want, you be sure of who you are, you be sure of what you're doing, you be sure of implementing the things that you're learning. Be sure of you, and understand that they are also coming from a place where the process is push and pull. There's always going to be a tug of war. It's not because they're bad or we're bad, or they're incompetent or we're incompetent. It's not them versus against us. The crux of this is it's not them versus against us. It's just being sure about you and about learning along the way. Nobody can say, I know exactly everything I need to do as a parent. And the best thing about it is that, and the Quran tells us that, yes, inshallah ta'ala. And the best thing the Quran tells us is that we have a heart, and qalb basically means something that flips. Our heart flips, and our child's heart can also flip. They can know everything about the deen, and they can know everything about the rules, and they can know everything about the expectations, and still they will go ahead and they will try and test and do things that they think are good for them or are bad for them, or they want to see how are we going to respond to them testing our boundaries. And so one of the things that this book emphasizes is you can have your set of boundaries and you can have your set of clear expectations, and regardless of that, the children are still going to push it. But how do you overcome that? You be sure of you. You be sure of you. You say that, you know what, I'm learning, I'm growing. This is something new for me. You say these words to them, especially the teenagers who have gone through trauma, yeah, who have had bad childhood experiences, need to go to therapies. And you need to find out good Muslim therapists, and you need to find out therapists, because I have come to this conclusion that a parent alone cannot help their child all the time. The parent is there. So there was one of the things where that, and in this book it says, you can get your child therapists, and you can get your child coaches, and you can get your child coaches, therapists, counselors, but you are the parent at the end. You are the parent at the end. So the important conversations start with us. We start by saying, by being vulnerable, by saying, listen, yes, messes have been made. Yes, we understand things have been difficult, things that were not in my control or not in my understanding at that point. Yes, I understand that you have suffered, and so have I. And my heart breaks every day to see you suffer. So I can make dua, and I am making dua for you. I am making dua for your healing, and I'm going to find tools necessary to help you. But I need you to help you so that you can be in a better place. They will resist the help, or they will say they don't need it, but they will thank you for it. Find the kind of help that is needed for them. The parent cannot do it all by themselves. That is not humanly possible. There is another thing. We as parents, we sometimes, when we get hyper, we talk too much. Regardless, we're giving them empathy, regardless, we're giving them love, regardless, we're giving them all of our sincere advice, it becomes too much. The same thing that you are saying, if somebody else relates to them, they find it, oh, so this is a world perspective, this is not just my parents' perspective. And it becomes easier for them. They need mentors, they need good examples and adults. They need a safe space. Another thing that the book emphasizes on is that the home needs to be a safe space. If they come out, if they so the schooling system is stressful, the online system is stressful, the online playing, the online bullying, the online, if they have social media, the likes and the etc etc, if they have all of that, their sleep is affected. The one of the most common things that all of the there's a book that I have, it says Sleepless Nation. I would like you to read that book as well. Sleepless Nation. I think Sleepless Nation. And it talks about the tweens and teens who are lacking in their sleep, and their brain function has gone like from off the charts, and anxiety and depression and all of that, and how to help them sleep, how to help them sleep better, what to do. And the thing is, again, we go nuts when placing, and they have talked about, in this book they have talked about technology and about placing boundaries around that, and placing conversations around that. And you all know those conversations. It is not new to any one of us. All those conversations are not new to us. All those boundaries are not new to us. Don't have your gadgets at the meal time. Stop the Wi-Fi at 9:10. Yani weekends, maybe one day should be off, whatever it is. But again, it comes from our practice. If we are not doing it, our children will be less likely to do it, less likely to challenge us, less likely. And it starts early on. Like, it starts early on. Khair. A lack of sense of control is one of the major drivers of the high rate of anxiety. Compared to young people 20 to 30 years ago, the feeling of loss and control has skyrocketed. I've already discussed that. Sleep deprivation also accelerates feeling of anxiety and depression. The proper way to success is to work hard and rest hard. And so the doctor part of the book, the locus of control. The prefrontal cortex regulates the amygdala. Roles of prefrontal cortex as planning and logical thinking. Role of the amygdala is brain threat detection system. Some kids are born and more prone to stress. Their amygdala is much more sensitive to signs of threat due to lack of control by the prefrontal cortex. The further the development of the prefrontal cortex, we have to allow our kids to make choices, even if they are dumb choices. The problem parents is that the problem is that feel like um, parents like to feel in control and derive much of their social image by how well their son or daughter is doing. I mean, these are the things that we've talked about so much. I don't even want to go through them. It feels as if half of the book we had already studied. As a group in the Parenting with Allah by My Side, people have already studied. They don't need these same repetitions. But again, repetition is a good reminder. By always being in control, you're hindering your child's ability to develop their own sense of control. Many kids are terrified of making mistakes because they've never made one. It's important to instill a sense of it's okay to make a mistake mindset in our children. We need to give them the confidence that even if they do make a mistake, they'll be able to deal with it. And experience is the best teacher. Stop making every decision for your child. That is the bottom line of this book. Stop making every decision for your child. The most effective parenting style is authoritative. We already know that. Let your child go through stressful situations. Don't steer them away from him. That's how they will develop resilience. The default mode network is basically the ego. We don't allow ourselves enough time to sit down and think the thoughts, to think the stuff through and figure out our place, right? And figure out how this can be solved, because we just want to fix everything. And so and the kids are never bored. And the minute that they have to sit down by themselves, the first indication is, oh my God, we're so bored. They're like, in fact, I gave up my social media like about 7 days ago. And when I say I gave up my social media, I basically, what I did was I deleted, Saima is asking, sorry if I missed it. What's the best age to start giving them some leeway? And 0. You started from the 2 years of age. Two, and then onwards, you start giving them those decision-making skills. For example, you give them choices, this one or this one or this one. These are the 3 things. Which one do you want to pick? We can do either this or we can do either that. And if they come up with a third suggestion, if that suggestion actually is a smart, intelligent one, actually pick their suggestion, right? The kids are not empty slates. They have choices. They have an understanding of certain things. Trust them and trust yourself. Be sure of yourself and trust them as well. Okay. So I gave up social media. And when I say I gave up social media, it's like I deleted the app on my phone, the Instagram, the Facebook, and everything. Because if anybody follows me, they know that my WhatsApp and my Instagram and my Facebook stories were always active, apart from making content. And I said to myself, I had this unease for a few months, and I said to myself, I need to rest. I need to do certain other things that require my time and energy. So I'm going to stop content making, and I'm going to stop using the social media for some time. But Parenting with Allah by My Side, I'll continue to do. But again, this is StreamYard. This is, yani, I don't have to scroll anything. I just have to come up with my study, and I just have to talk to you people, right? So somebody asked me the other day, what are you doing then? And I said, I swear, I feel as if I don't know a life outside of it. I don't know what I was doing before social media. I don't even remember. She said, and I have so much time. And just day before yesterday, I finished 4 books. Like 4 books. I finished reading 4 books. I'm not saying I read them cover to cover. I did their summaries. I went online and I found out their more crystallized versions, and I read them and I made notes of them. And I was like, when was the last time I did 4 books in a day? Never has it happened in the past 3 years since I've been online. Like, wow. I sat with my kids. I talked to them. I did other stuff. I mean, like, I did not even go out. I was at home without social media, but doing things. It was such a good experience. Yes, I do have the itch to go back and see what's happening, but I don't. I stop myself. Again, discipline is the best thing. Coming back to wrapping up the book. Thank you so much for being here with me. How to make motivation. Okay, so you're saying, so the book is saying give children their autonomy, the book is saying tame your ego, the book is saying understand their prefrontal cortex and their amygdala, understand that they might be triggered, understand that your anxiety rubs off onto their anxiety. If you are an anxious parent, if you've not made your home a safe space, then they're not going to feel safe enough at home, which means they're going to run outside or run online, and going to be rebellious, right? So the first thing that we need to do is make ourselves calm and our homes a calmer place. But then to do all of that, okay, so a parent has done all of that, but the kid is still lacking in motivation. They're still lacking in direction. What to do then? You have the right mindset, you give them the autonomy, that is a sense of independence and control, you give them competence, that is, I believe in you. It's not like you have to go here, just start by small steps, giving them that faith and that um ease, that you just start heading in that direction. That is motivation enough. Relatedness, feeling of being connected by others, being cared about. Optimal level of dopamine. What is dopamine? Dopamine is like good, healthy hormones which come by playing sports, going outside, doing something as a family together. And I have found this, and this is sad, but this is true. We don't make effort. Honestly, we don't make effort. We say things, we say big things, we say intelligent things, we say smart things, we say agreeable things, but we don't do those things. I have asked myself and other parents that I coach over and over and over and over again that why is it that you don't get the results that you expect from your children? And I've seen this, that I'm not setting a good example. I'm not doing the thing. So for 3 years, all of you have seen me online, right? So this 1 week that I've been offline, and I have, if anybody knows me, I have like 50 books overdue from the library all the time. I should buy the library one. I was thinking, like, when I get rich, you know what? I'm just going to give them a good heavy donation, and then all the books in the library are going to be free for me for the rest of the life. Inshallah, that will happen. Manifest it. Acha, make dua for it. Acha. So coming back to this. So in these 6 days, when I was reading, one of my kids, she sat and she actually picked up one of the books that I had bought for self-study. And she read a few chapters from it. Oh my God, that's a win-win. That's a win-win. If your child who is a reader, who picks up a nonfiction and who reads a few chapters and then gives you a feedback all by themselves, fantastic. Congratulations. That is doing it. And the thing is, when you're doing the things that you're saying that you want them to do, and you're setting an example, they will come around. The children do come around. I have found this over and over and over again, regardless how strong-headed or strong-willed or stubborn or arrogant you think your child is, they are still a child. The thing that they need is a correct kind of dopamine, correct kind of love, correct kind of attention. Not too much attention, not less attention, not diverted attention, not fake attention, but just enough where you are sure of yourself. It all comes back to this. You need to know what you want from you. The thing is, and I've just realized this. We say, you need to fill your cup, you need to fill your cup, you can only pour from your cup. What are we mothers doing basically? Even when we are filling our cup, it is like, after this, I'm going to make my child do this, this, this. Make my child do this. Make them do this. I'm going to tell them to do this. Well, it is our job. Like when my children are angry with me, I'm like, listen, I'm not here to appease you, please you, make you happy all the time. My job is tough, and I know what my job is, and I'm going to do my job, right? But the thing is, if it's just a job, then it's not your life mission. It's a job, right? And you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward us if we do our job correctly. And one of the things about our job is to understand that we have goals and we have priorities. And sometimes what we forget is that so there are two kinds of mothers. The mothers who are exhausted of being a mother, but they don't know anything else outside of being a mother, and the mother who is and the mother who loves her motherhood, and the mother who wants to do best around her motherhood, but then she has not figured out how to keep herself sure of herself. Does that make sense? I would love to hear from you all. Is what I'm saying, does it resonate with you? Because we can do books upon book study, but if we do not know what we want from us, what we want to do for ourselves, how our cup is full without forcing our children to accomplish and do things, then no, we are anxious people, and anxious people cannot help children to be self-driven if they can't, because you don't let go. You really don't let. You're saying that you're not holding your child's hand tightly. See, so motherhood is guiding the child, sometimes leaving the hand, sometimes taking the hand, sometimes taking them by the hand, sometimes letting them hold your hand, right? But that is normal motherhood. But a lot of us, because we're so unsure of ourselves, because we think we have past traumas and we have past guilts, we become helicopter parents so that our children don't do the same mistakes that we have done. And so we're going to guide them the best because now we have the experience. We just hold them from here, not from here, not from here. We just hold them from here, and then we drag them and we say, like, come on, let me show you how wonderful your life can be. And in that, what we're doing is leading a miserable life ourselves and with our children. Inshallah ta'ala, let me see if there are some really really good last pointers to give, and we will wrap this up. Oh, there was this site where there were a few themes. So one of the sayings in the book is, this is a reframing that is difficult for many parents. Yani, the self-driven child reframing is very difficult for many parents who want the best of their kid and want as much as possible to protect them from suffering. But the reality is that if you want to give your children more of a sense of control, you will have to let go of some yourself. Remember that your job is not to solve your child's problems, but to help them learn to run their own lives. This reframing means that while we should guide, support, teach, help, and set limits for our kids, we should be clear with them and with ourselves that their lives are their own. Teachers can teach, coaches can coach, guidance counselors can outline graduation requirements, but there's one thing only parents can do, and that is love their child unconditionally and provide them with safe base at home. When the children feel that they're deeply loved, even when they're struggling, it builds resilience. So instead of nagging, arguing, and constant reminding, we recommend repeating, I love you so much, or I love you too much to fight with you about your homework. Fail, that's okay. I'll still love you. In a competitive, and these are some of the highlights from the book, which I'm saying right now. In a competitive, overly busy world, it's easy to forget the basics, that enjoying your kids is one of the best things you can do for them and yourself. You don't have to spend every moment with your kid or convince yourself parenting isn't hard when it is. Parenting is really, really, really hard. Your kid needs to feel the joy of seeing your face light up when you see them because you are genuinely happy to spend time with them. This feeling is incredibly powerful and important for their self-esteem and sense of well-being. Once that priority is set, work backwards and figure out why you're not enjoying your child, right? Our highest goal in life is to make our children feel loved, but it's worth paying attention to what's blocking you from genuinely enjoying them and removing that block. Okay, Jazakallahu khair. Alhamdulillah. No, Abir, are you saying that? No, those were quotes from the book. The ones that I just read were quotes from the book. Jazakallahu khair. If anybody has any questions, I would like to answer those. And then, inshallah, if nobody has any questions, if you would like to share your gems, please go ahead, share here. And I'm wishing you all the best of the rest of the 2022. And inshallah, let's stick together, become more stronger, calmer, resilient as parents. For 2023 year, we have great programs coming up, great webinars and workshops coming up for all of us. Jazakallahu khair. Anything anybody wants to say, I'll be here for the next few seconds. Pop up your question if you need to, or any thought. Abir, I'm sending the link here in the chat box. I don't know if you'll be able to click it. I hope so. I don't know if you'll be able to do it, but if you go on Google and find out the summary, you will get the notes or the highlights or the, shorter versions of the book. Tafi. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallahu khair, everybody. Everybody's good? Inshallah. See you around. All the best. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our parenting. So let's make dua is Ya Allah, Ya Rahim, Ya Kareem, Ya Wahhab. Bless us with the gift of understanding ourselves. Ya Allah, allow me to know you and understand myself enough to love you, to worship you, to understand what is required of me that will please you, Ya Rab. Ameen. Ya Rab, make my relationships easy for me and make me easy for my relationships. Ya Rab, allow me the sakina, the ease of parenthood. Ya Allah, allow me the miracle of happiness in my parenthood. Ya Allah, protect me and my children from the harms and waswas of shaitan and misguidance of misinformation. Ya Allah, allow me to gain good, beneficial knowledge and allow me to implement it on myself and my family. Ya Allah, allow me the goodness of understanding of Quran, Sunnah, Sira, and any knowledge that you have sent on earth. Ya Allah, allow my children to be the coolness of my eyes and allow me to be the coolness of my children's eyes. Ya Allah, I am a separate being, I am a separate entity from my children. Allow me to be the best in excellence, be the best of excellence, of ihsan in my demeanor, in my manners, in my thinking, in my ibadah, in my conduct, with every relationship in my life. Ya Allah, save me from the ill effects of hurt and pain that this dunya will give me. And I acknowledge that while I'm living and breathing, I will find the tests through people. Ya Allah, allow me to pass them like a breeze, Ya Rab. Allow me to pass them like a breeze. Ya Allah, only you know how much my heart aches and how much my heart worries and how anxious I am. Ya Allah, bless me with the serenity of ghina. Ya Ghani, Ya Mughni, grant me ghina. Make me comfortable in my own body, my mindset, my thought process. Give me ease, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, wherever I go, make me a source of ease and happiness for the people I am surrounded with. Ya Allah, may I be surrounded with the people you love and who love you. Ya Allah, grant me the company of your beloved people in this dunya and in akhirah. Ameen. And I make these du'as with a lot of sincerity and a lot of thought process. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer your du'as and increase you in your goodness. Ameen. And myself too. Ameen. With this dua, inshallah ta'ala, let's meet in 2023. Take care, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.